are the reason your life is still small. Not your parents, not your boss, not your past, you. You chose comfort when it asked for nothing. You chose easy when the hard thing felt honest. And now, you're paying for it with everything you never became. Let's stop pretending. You're not tired, you're unused. Not overwhelmed, just undisciplined. Not broken, just boring. You've become the kind of person who scrolls through motivation videos, nods your head, says facts, and then changes nothing. You've learned how to hide your weakness in intellectual quotes, how to dress your laziness in self-care, and how to rename your procrastination as mental health. But your body knows. Your mind knows. Your spirit, what's left of it, screams in silence every night because it knows what you could have been if you just had the spine to do what is hard. You say you want it, but every action you take screams the opposite. You want results without resistance, growth without grit, victory without sacrifice. You want a body that turns heads without sweating for it. You want wealth without discipline, respect without blood. You think motivation is coming to save you. Motivation dies the second life gets hard. You think someone's going to push you? No one's coming. No one is responsible for your greatness. And no one will care about your excuses when you fail. You keep choosing later, not realizing that later has murdered more dreams than failure ever has. You have no idea how dangerous it is to live soft, to live slow, to be comfortable in a world that eats the unprepared. The clock doesn't care how you feel. The mirror doesn't lie. And life will not pause because you're not ready. It will move without you. And if you don't move with it, you disappear. So I'll say this once. If you're not willing to suffer, to grind while others sleep, to bleed while others post, to rise before comfort wakes, then prepare to stay where you are forever. You either do what is hard now, or you do what is heartbreaking later. Because this life, it has one rule. Easy choices, hard life. Hard choices, easy life. So bury the part of you that keeps waiting. Choke the voice that says, not today. Kill the coward in you that fears effort. You think comfort is a gift. It's not. It's a drug, and you're addicted. You've wrapped your life in warm blankets, soft excuses, and padded failure. You've traded your future for the illusion of peace, and it's killing you slow. You've built your days around what feels good. You eat when you're bored, sleep when you're sad. You avoid challenge like it's a disease. You've let comfort sedate your ambition, and now it owns you. It whispers, you've done enough. You deserve a break. Take it easy. And you listen, because the truth is harder to hear. Here it is. Comfort has a price, and you're already paying it. With your body, your bank account, your dreams, with the dull ache in your chest that grows louder every time you wake up knowing you wasted another day. The worst part? Comfort doesn't kill you quickly. It lets you rot slowly. It keeps you calm while your goals bleed out behind you. It gives you pleasure now and pain later. Look at the path you're on. You skipped the workout. Again. You avoided the hard conversation. Again. You wasted hours in a scroll hole of nothing. Again. And every time, comfort handed you a prize, a moment of ease, in exchange for another piece of your power. This is the cost no one tells you about, the comfort tax. You won't see it on paper, you won't feel it right away, but it compounds. And one day, you'll wake up and realize you've lived 10 years in the same spot, thinking about the same goals, with nothing to show for it, but regret dressed as routine. High performers, real monsters, real legends, they don't serve comfort. They suffer on purpose. They make pain familiar, discipline normal. They trade temporary ease for permanent power. They bleed now so they don't break later. You say you want results, but you keep paying comfort's price. You say you want to change, but refuse to be uncomfortable. How does that make sense? Nothing grows in comfort. Not your body, not your mind, not your legacy. You need to be tired. You need to be sore. You need to wake up dreading the task and do it anyway. Because comfort is lying to you. It says you're okay when you're not. It says you're safe while you're falling behind. It says you're happy while your fire dies out. You want to change your life? Then learn to hate comfort. Hate what it stole from you. Hate the hours it's taken. Hate the dreams it left to die. Then get up and reclaim the pain that makes you powerful. The most dangerous enemy you'll ever face isn't out there. It's not the competition. It's not your critics. It's not your circumstances. It's the version of you that wakes up every morning and chooses weakness. You know the one, the voice that says, just 10 more minutes. The part of you that convinces yourself one day won't matter. The part that hits snooze, skips the gym, scrolls through distraction, then dares to act surprised when life leaves you behind. It's not life that's holding you back. It's you. It's the liar in your own head, the coward inside your chest. The part of you that settles when you were built to rise. You've been negotiating with your own limitations, shaking hands with fear, taking advice from laziness like it's wisdom. That voice inside you that tells you to stop, that's not your friend. That's the thief. It's the part of you that watched you dream, then talked you out of chasing it. You've been fighting shadows outside, but it's the one in the mirror that's killing your progress. You train your body, but ignore your patterns. You work hard, but stay inconsistent. You want greatness, but you keep dragging the weak version of yourself into battle. And that version is why you lose. You want to win? Then kill him. Not gently, not with kindness, but with discipline. With action so loud, that voice inside you goes silent out of fear. That voice only survives because you listen. You obey it. You serve it. And as long as you do, it will own you. Every time you choose what's easy, it grows. Every time you skip what matters, it gets stronger. And every time you fail to act, it learns your patterns. It adapts. It waits for you to get tired, bored, or discouraged. Then it strikes. And you let it win. This isn't motivation. This is war. Not out there, in here. A war for your identity, for your discipline, for your soul. You want to be powerful? Then get brutal. Track your behavior like a hunter. Starve your weakness until it dies. Rewire your habits until effort becomes instinct. until the soft version of you suffocates under the pressure of your consistency. You are your own battlefield, and no one is coming to rescue you from yourself. So stop trying to fix the world before you fix your patterns. Stop blaming life for what you've tolerated in silence. You want to break out? Then break in. Kill the coward. Starve the addict. Silence the liar. There is a monster inside you, waiting to be unleashed. But it won't come through comfort. It only rises when the weakness in you dies. You almost did it. You almost changed. You almost became the version of you that kept you up at night. But almost never made anyone powerful. You trained for a week, then you quit. You woke up early for a few days, then you slipped. You said you'd stop wasting time, and then wasted hours explaining why you didn't. And somehow you think almost earns you something. That effort without execution is still noble. But effort without follow-through is failure in disguise. And you've been wearing that disguise like armor, convincing yourself that trying is enough, that showing up once means you've changed. You haven't. You're still stuck. Not because you can't, but because you keep dancing with the same cycle of half commitment and full regret. You post quotes, you make plans, you write goals, but goals without obsession are just wishes. You don't need more plans, you need war. You fooled yourself into believing starting is the hard part. It's not. Starting is a dopamine hit. Finishing is the death of your comfort zone. And that's why you never make it. Because the second the fire fades, so do you. You love the idea of transformation, but you hate the sacrifice. You love progress, but not the price. And so you live in this purgatory of potential, where everything you could be is smothered by everything you refuse to become. You say you're committed, but real commitment doesn't flinch when it gets hard. It doesn't back down when it gets boring. It doesn't disappear when no one is watching. You want greatness? Then finish what you started. Don't just spark the fire, feed it, nurture it, protect it when it dies down and everyone else would walk away. Because almost isn't growth, it's torture. It's running halfway up the mountain, looking back and convincing yourself you climbed it. It's wasting time, wasting talent, wasting breath on dreams you're too soft to suffer for. This is the trap you're in. Not failure, but the illusion of progress. The lie that says, I'm doing something, when deep down, you know you're avoiding everything. There is no reward for halfway, no trophy for potential, no legacy for the one who tried. Only the ones who finish, who sacrifice sleep, comfort, and distraction. Only they get remembered. Only they get free. You've lived enough days as almost. You keep waiting for motivation, that spark, that wave, that perfect mood. And that's why you're stuck. You think change starts when you feel ready. But the truth is, motivation is a liar. It shows up when it wants, not when you need it. It's loud when things are easy. It disappears the second things get hard. That's why your results are inconsistent. That's why your goals die halfway. Because you keep depending on a feeling. And feelings are fragile. You don't rise because you're inspired. You rise because you refuse to be weak anymore. You show up because you said you would, not because it feels good. Do you think champions wake up motivated every day? You think fighters train on fire at 4 a.m.? You think leaders build legacies because they feel like it? No. They do it because they're disciplined. Because their mission means more than their mood. You've been taught wrong. They told you to chase passion, follow your energy. But energy fades. Passion burns out. The only thing that stays is routine. And routine is built by discipline. Discipline is ugly. It doesn't give dopamine. It gives silence, repetition, pain. It asks for everything and claps for nothing. But if you can build it, you'll never need motivation again. You won't have to beg yourself to move. You won't need music to hype you up. You'll just execute. Because that's who you are now. But right now, you're emotional. You do it when you feel good. You avoid it when you don't. You think discomfort is a sign to stop, when it's actually a signal to keep going. You don't need more hype. You need hunger. You need to drag yourself through the mud on the days your mind says no. You need to show up sick, tired, angry, bored, because that's when it counts. That's when you train your identity. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the furnace. Only one of them survives the storm. And the storm is coming. Every day, without warning. So stop chasing emotion. Start building a standard. One that doesn't flinch. One that doesn't bend. One that shows up, no matter how loud your excuses scream. The ones who win aren't the most inspired. They're the most consistent, the most patient, the most relentless. Because when motivation dies, they don't. They rise anyway. And they do what is hard every single time. You want to be great? Then shut up and pay the price. Not in money, not in likes, not in dreams, but in pain, in silence, in repetition that no one claps for. You don't become powerful by reading about it. You become powerful by bleeding for it, over and over again. When no one's watching, when no one cares, when you have every excuse to quit and don't. But let's get this straight. You will be bored. You will be exhausted. You will question why the hell you're doing this. And that's exactly how you know you're in the right place. Because transformation doesn't happen in highlight reels. It happens in lonely reps, cold mornings, missed parties, friends who stop calling, people who say, "You've changed." Good. You should. You've been sold a fantasy that change should be quick, that success should be fun, that it should feel aligned. That's garbage. You don't rise by chasing feelings. You rise by sacrificing them, by showing up when your bones ache, by grinding when your mind begs for comfort, by giving more when there's nothing left to give. This isn't cute. This isn't glamorous. It's war. And it's not just about effort. It's about endurance. Can you suffer without applause? Can you outlast your doubt? Can you show up for day 100 when day 1 promised you results? You want the body? It'll cost you meals, sleep, comfort. You want the business? It'll cost you weekends, friends, certainty. You want peace? It'll cost you the part of you that keeps chasing distractions to avoid the mirror. This is the entry fee. No hacks, no shortcuts, no skipping the line with good intentions. Everyone pays, some with time, some with talent, all with pain. If you can't pay the price, don't chase the reward. Because greatness isn't given, it's leased, and rent is due daily. So ask yourself, are you willing to stay broke in the short term so you never go broke in the long run? Are you willing to suffer now so you never again kneel to the weak voice inside you? This is the price of entry. Not one payment, every day, forever. And if that scares you, good, it should. Your body is not your friend. It wants comfort. It wants warmth. It wants rest. And it will betray you the second you let it lead. It wants the pillow, not the grind. It wants the sugar, not the fuel. It wants relief, not results. And here you are, obeying it. You think just because you're hungry, you should eat. Just because you're tired, you should rest. Just because you're sore, you should stop. You've let your flesh call the shots. And now you wonder why your life feels out of control. Your body is a machine, but machines need a master. You are that master or you are nothing. Because if your body runs the show, you'll always kneel to cravings. You'll always fold under pressure. You'll live soft, feel weak, and lose every war that demands endurance. You think discipline is just in the mind? No. Discipline starts when the body says no, and the mind responds with, too bad, we're doing it anyway. You think beasts are born? They're built. In cold showers, in fasted mornings, in late nights with no one to clap when you finish the set. They're forged through pain you feel in your bones, pain that makes your muscles scream, pain that teaches your flesh, I am not your servant, you are mine. And yes, it will rebel. Your body will beg you to quit. It will shake, crave, scream. It will throw everything it has at your will. Let it. Because every time you say no, every time you push through, you rewire the system. You teach your body who's in charge. You prove that strength isn't just what you lift, it's what you can endure. You want to feel powerful? Then earn the right to command yourself. Not just when it's easy, but when your lungs burn, when your hands tremble, when every inch of you wants out and you stay in. That's how monsters are made. That's how discipline becomes identity. That's how your body stops arguing, because it knows you won't break. You don't need a perfect body. You need a body that listens. You need a body that obeys. One that doesn't whine when it's time to suffer. So starve it, discipline it, drag it through war. And when it begs for mercy, don't flinch, because your goals don't live in the mind. They're earned through the flesh. And if you don't dominate your body, it will dominate you. Discipline is not a mood. It's not a burst of energy or a New Year's resolution. It's a system, a machine, a ritual that runs when motivation dies. You want to rise? Then stop depending on energy. Start depending on execution. The real monsters don't feel hyped when they train. They're not smiling in the gym, in the office, in the dark. They're silent. They're surgical, because they've turned hunger into habit. You think hunger is about how bad you want it. No. It's how often you're willing to act like you do. Every single day, without failure, without fanfare. You say you want discipline, but your life is chaotic. Your mornings are sloppy. Your habits are stitched together by hope. There's no structure. And where there's no structure, there's no power. You don't need more goals. You need routines that suffocate weakness. You need a schedule that mocks your comfort. You need rituals that don't ask if you're in the mood. They demand obedience. Wake up, move, eat clean, work, train, study. Repeat. Repeat until boredom turns into instinct. Until I don't feel like it becomes irrelevant. Until people ask how you stay so consistent and you can't even explain it. Because this isn't effort anymore. It's identity. You build that identity in silence. You stack reps when it's dark. You run laps when no one's clapping. You do the small, unsexy tasks that no one posts about, because those are the bricks of legacy. You say, it's hard to stay consistent. That's because you've never built something worth serving. You keep chasing the feeling, instead of building the system that survives without it. This is on to a way out, a safety net, a backup plan, a soft place to land in case the fire gets too hot. And that's why you're not rising. Because a man who keeps a back door open never builds the strength to break through the front. You start the business, but keep the old job just in case. You train hard, but still eat like comfort's your reward. You say you'll go all in, but you leave one foot in the life that broke you. That's not commitment. That's survival. And survival doesn't build empires. You keep telling yourself, I'll try. No, you don't try to breathe. You breathe or you die. That's the energy required to change. Anything less is playing pretend. If you leave yourself a way out, you'll take it. Because your mind remembers every time you've quit before. It knows you. And when things get hard, it will remind you where the exits are. Burn them. Burn the fallback plan. Burn the second option. Burn the excuses, the safety nets, the people who tell you, take it slow. There's no slow. There's only forward. And forward doesn't wait for the fearful to catch up. You want to be unrecognizable in a year? Then stop entertaining comfort now. The same comfort that's kept you average. The same softness that robbed you of momentum. The same plan B that turned into plan A when the pain kicked in. Comfort is clever. It always finds a voice that says, just in case, let's be smart. Don't go too far. Kill that voice. It's keeping you domesticated when you should be feral. There's a version of you that only shows up when retreat is no longer an option. That version is violent, focused, pure. It doesn't check its feelings, it checks the mission. And that mission demands obsession, not balance, not comfort, not contingency. You don't build greatness with one toe in the fire. You dive in, and you burn the bridge behind you. Because what's waiting on the other side of full commitment isn't just success, it's freedom. Freedom from doubt, from indecision, from the trap of always wondering, what if I tried harder? You've tried, now go all in, and let the world watch what happens when you leave yourself no choice but to rise. This is the part they never show. Not the training, not the grind, but the moment when the old you dies. The one that begged for sleep. The one that ran from discomfort. The one that made excuses louder than progress. Gone. This is the resurrection. Not the kind born in light, but the kind dragged from the pit. Built in silence. Forged in failure. Tempered in every moment you didn't quit, even when no one would have blamed you if you did. You are not who you used to be, not after this. Because most people break when the suffering gets deep, but you didn't break. You stayed. You adapted. You got dangerous. Now when weakness speaks, you don't listen. When excuses rise, you smother them. When comfort calls, you answer with war. There is no motivation left in you, only mission. No hype, only hunger. No validation, only vengeance. You don't train for fun, you train for blood. You don't wake up early because it's noble. You do it because you buried the version of you that slept through potential. That version is gone, starved, burned, dead, And in his place stands something unrecognizable, something colder, sharper, relentless. You've become the kind of person who executes with no emotion, who doesn't need praise, applause, or pity. You've become disciplined in human form. And that's why they won't understand you anymore. You won't fit in. You're not supposed to, because transformation demands isolation. Greatness doesn't grow in crowds, it's grown in exile. And you've suffered long enough to earn your way out. You know who you are now. Not because someone told you, but because you killed everything inside that wasn't real. Fear, gone. Insecurity, gone. Comfort, dead and buried. All that's left is purpose, carved into your bones. And it doesn't shake. It doesn't wait. It doesn't care what the world thinks. This is the version of you that was always screaming to get out. Now it walks without fear, moves without doubt, fights without pause. Because now you know, you don't need a second chance. You just needed to finally kill the part of you that kept holding on to the first. So stand up. This is your resurrection. And from this moment on, you are unbreakable. Now you've heard it all. But the question is, will you act or will you vanish? Because this is where most people fold, not in the beginning, not in the middle, but at the end, when it's time to finish. They get inspired, they get emotional, they get fired up, and then they go right back to the life that broke them, right back to the comfort that killed them. You say you're different, then prove it right now. Not next week, not when you feel ready. Now, when no one's watching, when it hurts, when the fire's burned out, and all that's left is your discipline. Because you don't become great by what you say. You become great by what you finish. And if you've made it this far, you don't need more motivation. You need execution. All those dreams you keep posting about, they don't care about your feelings. They only respond to action. Violent, consistent, uncomfortable action. You want the edge? Then stop dipping your toes. Drown in the work. Build the routines that no one can break. Run the schedule that crushes laziness before it even wakes up. Be the one they can't keep up with. Because you don't stop. You bleed, then show up anyway. You lose, then train harder. You fail, then double down. Because that's what the next level demands. And that's where you're going. Or you're not going anywhere at all. This world doesn't reward the emotional. It rewards the consistent. It rewards the sharp, the focused, the obsessed, the ones who don't just want it. They live it. They suffer for it. They execute when it's boring, painful, and thankless. You either become that or you disappear. Because the future does not belong to the motivated. It belongs to the machines. To the ones who made hunger a habit. To the ones who traded softness for structure. So here's your choice. Right here, right now. Do what you've always done and end up where you've always been. Or go all in. No plan B, no breaks, no turning back. Just ruthless, disciplined execution until the life you want is the life you wake up in. This is not just a speech. This is your line in the sand. You cross it or you stay forgotten. Execution or extinction. Choose.